Hey guys, thanks for watching the very first Be Better Golf podcast. This is going to be something that I'm going to try to do pretty regular. Today I have with me Timothy Constantine Lowe. He's a former professional golfer. He's still a professional golfer, but he's a former tour player, and he is now a roving commentator for the Asian Tour and also a businessman, kind of a renaissance man of sorts. Tim, how's it going?
You're too kind. It's going well. It's going well. Thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be guest number one.
Yeah, right. Tim might be working with us more in the future. So, Tim, give us a bit of your history in golf and then how you got to where you are now.
I picked up golf when I was around 10. So my father had just passed on. There was nothing really for my mom to do. And her brother said, "Do you want to go pick up golf?" So she said, "Sure." And I tagged along as a 9-year-old kid. And she said, what do you think about it?" I said, "Well, I think it's good fun and I could probably do it better than you." So
Yeah.
fast forward a couple of months, and she bought me a set of clubs for my birthday and a golf lesson. And that was it. I was hooked. And to this day, it's still the only thing I could do better than my mom. So thank you, golf. I played a bunch of junior golf, really got into it, amateur golf. Was part of the pioneer batch of students at the Singapore Sports School, which was like a government-funded school in Singapore to try to improve our sporting scene. So I got to hang out with world champions and very accomplished athletes. And I sort of decided that I wanted to turn pro eventually. So finished my military service, played on the national team for a bit, finished my military service. It's 2 years you got to do in Singapore. And then did that, turned pro. And it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's a lot harder than than your average Joe will than they think it is. But yeah, so I tried that for 2 years. Played a bit, mini tours, played MENA tour in the Middle East, played Asian Development Tour, played a couple of small events, 1 or 2 Asian Tour events, and accidentally stumbled into television, doing some broadcast analyst stuff for Fox Sports, or Fox Sports Asia, I should say. And never did any kind of TV before, never did any training. They just needed someone who knew golf, and it was a pilot show. So we did that. Bosses liked it, producers liked it, and I was asked to do the next week, and then the next week, and then my big break, as it were, came when we did the Masters in 2014. I think it was 2014, and Michael Campbell was the other guest on the sofa with me, and I remember watching Campbell win at Pinehurst down the stretch, beating Tiger. And, he was such a cool guy. He became like a he's a bit too old to be my brother, but like it was, we say in Asia, like an uncle kind of figure. So we went out and had drinks every night, and he said, "You know what? You're actually quite good at this whole broadcast thing." And I said, "I just, I just try not to swear." And he told the boss, or he told the one of the head of productions at Fox Sports Asia, "If you make Tim the host, I will come back and I'll do a couple more of these things." So boss said, "Yep, let me think about it." He's only just started 2 months ago. And so Campbell and I said bye. He was back on a plane. 2 days later, I got a call and said, "Okay, show's yours. And you can be an anchor for our regular stuff." And basically, I just got shoved in the deep end. And yeah, I had a 3-year run with Fox. Ended up got asked to do commentary for the Asian tour at the time, which is great because all my friends give me a hard time for it, because now I don't have to pay for my flight, pay for my hotel, don't have to pay for a caddy. I never miss a cut. I'm in the final group every week. So, and I get to hang out with the boys. So yeah, it's been a fun little 8-year journey, and it all came from me just being at the right place at the right time.
Did Michael ever ask you, like, I read this thing about him in the final round of the U.S. Open at Pinehurst where he went into the porta potty and he took a tee with him, and then he stared at the tip of the tee intensely for like 45 seconds or something to get himself refocused. It was something he was working on. Is
It
this
was
right?
it was okay. It was something along those lines. The tea thing, I'm not sure whether he actually did that, but I remember he was psyching himself up in the porta potty, and I was
Oh, right.
fascinated with how do you stand out the greatest golfer of all time
Sure.
when I mean Campbell. I think Campbell's the only guy that I know that has been through two different slumps in his career,
Because I don't think we
and
said, but it was Michael Campbell and Tiger Woods, right?
yeah, and it was the one where Jason Gore and Retief Goosen were in the last group. And
Okay.
Campbell
Yeah.
was in the group. Campbell was with the playing in the penultimate group, and Tiger was ahead of him,
I got you.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And but I did ask Campbell. I said, so how'd you do it? And he gave me some very interesting advice. He said, in that porta potty, he convinced himself that everyone is afraid of Tiger when he's on the move because of the roars that echo through the pines, Augusta National, Pinehurst, wherever he's playing. Right. And Campbell convinced himself, he said, right, for the next 9 holes, whatever happens, anytime you hear a roar, imagine it's for you. Imagine that, they're cheering for you. So, he would always sort of, doff the cap or just sort of nod anytime a roar in front of him went up, of which there were many. So he kind of tricked himself into believing that it was all for him. And I think the other thing that he used to tell me about that day was he just, whatever he could do to fill up his confidence cup, he called it, he'd do it. Every little thing he did right. Didn't matter how small, he would just acknowledge the fact that he did something right and just gain confidence, because the last thing you need is to spot Tiger a couple of shots at the confidence department. But yeah, I mean, it was an incredible story, and it was kind of surreal for me to sit on a sofa with the guy who I watched 10 years before win one of the biggest championships in the world, and he's been a terrific friend ever since. And we do keep in touch. I did see him recently in Newcastle at the Asian Tour's first ever event in the UK, and so we had a nice little catch up there. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of cool, hearing from someone who's actually done what very few have ever been able to achieve. Beat Tiger in a major championship on Sunday down the stretch. That's pretty cool.
So tell me a little bit about your game, as far as, because there's a lot of kids who do junior golf, and there's a lot of kids that get serious about it, and very, very few of them get to, like, the college golf system is different in Asia, but you got to, like, basically a D1 level or beyond by being on the national team and then playing pro. Why do you think you had good success with golf, even as you kept going up levels? And then whereas other people who maybe practice just as much, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they didn't. I don't know how much you practice, but to me, it seems that, like, it's not just about practice or just about, how much the parents push them or whatever. There seems to be, like, another kind of factor that makes some people succeed and some people kind of tread water on the way up.
I think that's always the hardest question to answer, because everyone's going to be different. I worked really hard as a kid and as an amateur, but I think in trying too hard to find ways to get better, I got worse. And It's something that everyone would have, anyone who's ever cared about golf will know exactly what I'm talking about. You're going all right, you're going all right, you're going all right. And then somebody, could be a friend, could be a coach, could be, a podcast, could be something on TV. They start talking about a new concept, an idea, or whatever's the new hot thing. And you sit there going, ooh, what if I tried it? But without understanding your own game enough to recognize that whoever it's working for may not be built like me, may not have the same kind of tendencies that I do. And then you try and chase that. And having that relentless work ethic, you work hard at it for 6 months and you assume it should be better, but then it gets worse. Now you panic. Do you stick with it? Do you go back to the old thing? Because now you go back to the old thing, you've got new thoughts in your head going, oh, wait, but I don't think it's supposed to work. This is not the right way to play golf. And, you have too many of those battles and your confidence starts to take a hit, and golf is so much about confidence. Like my prime example, at least from early junior days, was I always putted. I remember one of the first few people I watched on TV when I got into golf was Phil, right? So Phil always had that small stance, really open, a lot of shaft lean with the putter, and almost sort of like that hooky open door, closed door stroke. Yeah. And I thought, well, that looks pretty good. I mean, he's making everything, so I putted like that. And it felt very natural to me. It felt very comfortable. But then I had a coach that wanted to change it because it wasn't going to be repeatable under pressure. And now, with the wisdom that I have, it's not strokes or it's not swings that hold up under pressure. It's the golfer that holds up under pressure, right? Yeah. I mean, we've got Tawan Wirachan, who's got the funkiest swing of anyone you've ever seen, who's won 18 times in the Asian Tour and is still super competitive wherever he tees it up, in Japan, in Europe, and on the Champions Tour now. But you can't teach something like that. The swing never held up under pressure. He did. So I changed my putting to something more conventional, and it was just never the same. So I think the most important thing for a junior, I mean, even to get into the game, is do they like it or not? Are they interested or not? And I've got tons of friends with young kids. Obviously, playing golf in Asia, if you're a kid playing, there are a lot of really old guys that play as well. So my friends are all 30, 40, 50 years older than me. But they'll go, when do I get my kid in? I said, you take him to the range, no instruction, give him a club, give him the safety rules, don't swing when someone's here, yada, yada. Hit this ball as hard as you can. And one of two things happens. They either love it and go, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. When can we do it again? Or why do people play this? This is the worst sport in history. I never want to do this.
All right.
And it's a binary result. And if they like it, you will never be able to get them to stop. If they don't like it, you will never be able to get them to be interested in it. You have to find it within yourself. I know it sounds a bit zen and everything, but that's how you get a kid into the sport. But then the improvement comes from understanding what works for you. And that was my first lesson when I came out. I remember, I think it was my second event ever. We were in Indonesia, and I always hit little fades. I hit little fades throughout my junior career, throughout my amateur career, and through my early sort of pro career. And I'm hitting draws all of a sudden, but they're 4-yard draws, right? It's no big deal. But in my mind, I'm going, oh, no. Fade is good. Fade is good. Fade is good. And I played a practice round with Madan Mabat, who is easily our most successful professional in Singapore. And so I'm hitting these little draws, and I'm playing okay. Then I go to the range after that, and I hit 450 golf balls trying to find the fade again. Going, I can't see the golf course with the draw. And what happens? Everyone knows how this story ends. I go out on day one, I shoot 77. I've got a two-way miss, and I miss the cut, and it's awful. And we're sitting in the bus on the way back to the airport to go to the next spot. And he goes, why did you ever try to hit it left to right? And I said, because I always hit it left to right. He said, yeah, but on Monday you're hitting a draw. You're not going to find it magically in the dirt on Tuesday. And it's not like it was a wild hook and one's going straight. You've got a two-way miss.
Yeah.
He said, just play with it. So when I go to the range in the morning, what he told me was, when I go to the range in the morning, I'm going there to warm up. But I'm also trying to observe which way the ball's going. And I'm not going to fight it 20 minutes before my tee time. I'm going to go, okay, it's drawing. I'll aim right. What's the best advice I ever given a pro am playing with people? Oh, my ball slices so much. Cool. Yeah. Aim left. Okay. Oh, but that's not the right way. No, but you're trying to make the ball go there, yes? Yeah. And the way the ball goes there is if you aim it 30 yards left. Oh yeah, you're right. Like, there's no prize for the prettiest golf swing or the straightest golf shot. It's who gets the ball in the hole with the least number of shots. And that's something that I think people don't necessarily think about, because for as long as I've played golf, it's always been about the right way and the right technique. And I think when people start to let go of that, they end up playing better.
Yeah, there's a lot of ego in golf, and the other people watching you, and you think you hit a certain club, then that's not very manly, or if you hit a certain shape, then that's not really very pro, or something like that. One thing I wanted to ask you is that I think I've noticed that I think is kind of strange when it comes to Asian tour players and good Asian players that I see in America. Now, in America, good Asian players have very good swings. The lines are very good. They get the lines looking sharp. But if I look at the swings of a lot of the top guys on the Asian tour, they look crazy. The swings on the Asian tour they're just homemade, and they are just like they're gonna dance with the girl they brought, and they're just like finding a way to and not just the Asian players on the Asian tour, but guys like JB Kruger and other guys that make it on the Asian tour have these swings that are, you wouldn't really, you could make a ton of money gambling with these kind of swings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much body English as I put on it, does not work. I've hit a few tee shots that look like that, but more often they're not reaching for a provisional.
I think that's completely fair. And look, whether the boys are going to agree with me in public or publicly about this or not, I think it comes to exactly what you said. It's a golf swing you win money with, whether it's gambling, whether it's getting results. You very much, like you said, you dance with the one you brought. Everyone can hit a ball just fine at a driving range. Everyone can make their swing look pretty, look perfect, technically sound. But ultimately, where do you make your mustard? It's around the greens, it's putting. I always go back to the example of Tawon, right? So Tawon had this funky sort of thing where he almost had reverse wrist break when he putted. he would start with his hands behind the ball. He'd almost sort of scoop it that way. But he hit it. He basically used like the leading edge of his putter all the time. But he rolled the ball great and he made everything. And one of my early events on tour, we were in Thailand. And so there's two guys who everyone in Asia, or in Thailand, looked up to short game wise. It was Tawon, and there was another guy called Tamanun Srirod. But Tamanun always had this thing. I mean, if you check out Barry Henson, who plays in the Asian Tour, he's a big proponent of the Thai spinner.
Yeah,
right?
he won the Long Beach Open in my town.
Yeah, there you go. So the Hensonator has always loved the Thai spinner since he moved to Thailand and started watching Tamanun and these guys, and all the Thais can play it because it's very sticky, sort of native grass you get in Asia. I think Kiradek there was an Instagram video of Kiradek explaining about the Thai spinner, but basically, because it's so grainy, you need a little bit of loft to get the ball going, but then you want to stay on the ground as much as possible so it's predictable. So Tamanun sort of invented it, and he would chip the balls, a foot outside his back foot. He's got the club face way open, it's out steep, chops across it, slides in, but he can control that golf ball and make it do whatever he wants to do. And Tawon was the opposite. So he'd also have a fairly small stance, but the ball would be off his front foot, and he'd have his hands sort of behind. There's reverse shaft lean going, and he's hitting these shots with so much spin. He can control the trajectory on it, and it was a joy to watch. But you couldn't see two more different setups and two more different motions produce two results that were that similar. And that's kind of what everyone in Asia figured out works best for them. It don't have to be pretty. It just has to work. We joke around with the boys. We're all Asians. We all have gambling problems. And I think that's one of the reasons why, tournament golf for 4 days never really sort of registered me. Because as a kid at my home club in Singapore, it's home to some of the biggest betting games in the country. And I used to get underwritten to play these games because they were playing for way too much money. That I'm 16. I don't know. I just have these 50, 60-year-old guys going, hey, can you play at 12 o'clock tomorrow? There's this game with this other guy, these other three guys I know. Sure. What's the stake? No problem. We've got that covered. We'll give you whatever. So you're playing, and then now I start winning because I don't care. I'm a kid, right? Golf is fun. I just want to make birdie. And they're all very pleasant. So we sit down, we have drinks after that. And they go, oh, okay, are you free Tuesday? We'll go play again. So I did that for a couple of games. And then now I started making money. So they go, hey, you should start taking a piece of yourself. So now I've got 20% of myself, 30%, 50%, and we start getting to 100% or close to it. You start going, oh my God, this is serious cash. I don't have the cash to lose. But in that moment, it's what you feel on a back nine Sunday. Look, my swing isn't working well. I'm not holding putts. I'm pushing everything. But I have no choice. I have to make it now. There is no, I'm going to go to the range and figure this out. None of that. It's, I either make this work or I'm going to be washing dishes in the kitchen later on. And that's the kind of thing that I could never get myself into that mindset on a Thursday morning with 5 people on the first tee.
What's the best shot you ever saw somebody hit?
Maybe one of Jane Watananon's, when he won the Asian Tour Order of Merit in 2019, he hit so many unbelievable fairway metals from far out to 2 feet. I think it was Jakarta that year. The 12th hole at Royal Jakarta is his par 5, sort of doglegs a little bit left around some water, and it's a 2-tiered green. And he had a 3-wood in the first day to this pin that's cut in the back shelf, and he'd been hitting so many of these great shots throughout the season. And I remember they throw it down to me, and I go, he's got this number. It's this much to carry the ridge. The back plateau is like 8-10 feet deep, and he just carries it up on that ridge. It pitches at the top, and it rolls up to 2 feet. And I was like, "Oh my God, what a shot!" And then we get to Sunday, and the pin's in that tiny little section again, and he's kind of got a similar number, maybe a yard or two closer. So they throw it down to me again, and I go, "Well, he couldn't do it twice, could he?" And he hits the exact same shot, the exact same line, pitches almost in the identical spot, rolls up to 3 feet, makes the putt. And I'm going, he's good.
Yeah, fucking-esque. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When you were playing, and then as you were playing, you were getting some opportunities in TV. Now, were you basically like, did you still have the bug to want to try to keep grinding and playing, or was just the TV opportunity too good that you kind of eased off of it? Or Was there like a definitive time when you knew that, hey, if I'm going to have this other opportunity, I'm probably maybe not good enough to keep grinding? Or was there ever like a moment where you thought like, I got to like move on with my career?
I know I can die with no regrets. I am not good enough
Okay.
to do that. But having said that, when I first knew was when I got my first TV paycheck, because I had a age development tour event the week after, and so I got my first paycheck from Fox, and I go, oh, that's decent money. So I remember
Right.
I rang up.
This would have been hard to win. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I ring up my caddy. He was this delightful Malaysian guy called Bob. Huge unit. He's like 125 kilos and rode like an 80cc moped. It was comedy watching him show up to a golf club. So I ring up Bob and I say, look, I haven't had any time to practice. I've just done this TV thing, and it was the Accenture match play that Jason Day beat Victor Dubuisson in the finals.
Yeah.
And so I'm up all night. I haven't had any practice, but I'm going to go play this event. Do you want to loop for me? I know we've got a regular arrangement, but I'll pay you for the full week. I'll take care of you because, I've got this money now from TV. And he says, yeah, boss, no problem. So I show up, and I've got no pressure on me now because, hey, suddenly there's money in the bank account, which is a very foreign concept to a lot of new golfers when you just turn pro. So I show up, and I must have shot 80 in the Pro-Am, and it was terrible. And I go, don't worry, Bob. This is fun. This is okay. And I'm like, I think I'm 3 or 4 over through 10 on day one, but I'm playing with a couple of good friends. And then I think I somehow get it back to square on day one, and I ended up finishing 20th that week. But in a very I hold out for eagle on my 16th hole Friday. Ended up making the cut on the number. and then finished, I think, 20th that week, but in a very uniquely my style of golf. I think I had something stupid like 23 birdies, 3 eagles, and finished the week at 5 under or 6 under or something.
Yeah, wasting all that talent. Yeah,
wasting it with going for everything. Just
okay.
So I remember then on the ADT or in Malaysia they pay you in cash. So I got the cash, and I'm paying Bob. But I remember just looking at it going, it's the same amount of money in Malaysian ringgit as I made in US dollars last week. It's the same number.
Okay.
But I made more money sitting on my ass talking about golf, and I ground my butt off for 4 days. Maybe there is something in this TV thing. However, to your question, I hate it because every time I do these events out on the road with the boys, and you're watching them at the range, and we're talking, the same conversations we've had for years, and I'm out there watching these boys play. There's always some irritating voice in the back of my mind on a flight home that makes me go, God, what if we just put in a bit of work?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go play this, and
sure.
So maybe I'll play a couple of events here and there, but I've been on that side of being first reserve. You're on site and you're waiting there, and nobody pulls out, and you're on that long flight home. I don't want to take the spot away from someone, but if it's a relatively chill week and there's not too much on the line, and someone kindly extends me an invitation and I'm playing half decent, yeah, why not? But to do it as a profession, absolutely not.
What have you learned about golf, especially tournament golf and playing well in tournament golf, from being a commentator and kind of sitting, not so first person view at it, but like getting to follow the players around, especially too because they always put you with the guys who are playing really well that week. They've got they're kind of gotten themselves into the zone. What do you think you've learned more about tournament golf now that you didn't really have a perspective on when you were playing?
I genuinely think it's just preparation. He who is best prepared is going to feel most comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, like trying to win a golf tournament. So the guys that have put in all the work on the Tuesday, the Wednesday, their caddies are looking at pin spots for day 2 and day 3 when they're putting on day 1. They're ready for it, but also the ability to be that involved in the process and the preparation, but to just let go and hit the shot that's in front of you and not start thinking about, oh gosh, that putt didn't break so much on 5 or whatever, and that led to a bogey, and I've got that tee shot on 15 and I can't hit it right to left today. The guys who are prepared but have the ability to stay the best in the moment, I always feel are the ones that separate themselves during tournament golf. Because again, You go to a driving range at, whether it's an Asian Tour event, a PGA Tour event, the Long Beach Classic, everyone who is there at a golf tournament can hit a golf ball, can hit it a decent distance, can hit a bunker shot, can hit a chip, can hold a putt. What makes the winner the winner? It's just the guy who's able to do it when it matters, but also be prepared enough to know what to expect when the shot comes.
Yeah, a friend of mine that plays in a lot of tournaments, he would know and he's won, like, I think professionally, like about 60 times. And he said that when he would go, it would always seem daunting to him or to other players when they would see, like, okay, there's 155 guys in this field, and they would be like, oh, well, man, I got to beat 155. To him, like, he would always say, like, there's really like 11 guys that I have to beat at this tournament. There's like, he knew the guys that he had to beat, and so he really, that kind of narrowed it down for him, where he's like, I just had to, like, out prepare and out grind to keep my focus better than these guys. Everybody else is looking, in his mind, he said, to catch lightning in a bottle, so to speak. But, like, if he could just do a little better than the guys he knew were really competing, then it made it more doable for him, and he did well with that mindset.
No, 100%. I think the best, most recent example that sort of bridges Asian Tour and PGA Tour is Tom Kim, is Joo Hyung Kim. I think I first met him 2019. Yeah. He just won 3 times the ADT, the Asian Development Tour, got Battlefield promotion, and he is the nicest kid in the world. So I was introduced to him in Jakarta, and so we're having a chat, and so he came, played Singapore the next year, then obviously COVID happened. But I remember just the thing that blew my mind about him is his work ethic. He always would proudly say that on practice days, he may not be the first one to the club in the morning, but he usually is the last guy to leave. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you can do it when you're 19. Well, I mean, the kid's 20 now, but you can do it when you're young. But man, we would sit in the commentary box, and I think it was Singapore this year, and he wasn't playing badly. I think he was running 5th or something all week long. He missed the last bus back to the hotel because he was on the practice putting green until 6:45 in the evening, because he was a relentless grinder. And I mean, the heat and humidity in Singapore is no joke. He's there. Everyone's played their pro-ams. They practice. He's the one guy there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in 38-degree heat with 100% humidity, hitting balls, looking at numbers on his little TrackMan. And when we were in Newcastle, which was the last time I saw him, he was putting. And look, it got dark at 9 o'clock at night in England. He is putting on these bumpy Poana greens that have seen all the traffic from a day's worth of people warming up, playing on a Friday afternoon. He's there at 8 o'clock in the evening, still putting, still trying to finish his drill, which he wouldn't tell me what it was, but he's trying to hold these 8-footers, and he is so invested in it. And we're sitting at the bar, at the clubhouse bar, 20 yards away, and I remember he was lying on the ground at one point. And he'll never forgive me for telling the story, but I walk over, and I've had like 5 pints of beer at this point. So I walk over and I go, buddy, are you all right? So I'm lying on the grass with him, and he goes, I can't hold a putt. I feel terrible. I just got to get this done. I got to get this done. And I'm trying to convince him, like, hey, it's bumpy. It's Poana. Like, it's okay if you don't finish this. He goes, no, I need to get this done. I remember going, and that is why you will be the best that we've ever produced. And he got up and he finished that drill. 20 minutes later, he comes over to the bar, and I'm on pint 7 now, and he hugs me from the back, and he goes, thank you for lying on the grass with me. Thank you for the nice words. And to see him achieve everything he has on the PGA Tour already, it's just so inspirational for everyone in Asian golf, because everyone here is, it's a big family out the Asian Tour, and we all support each other. There are rivalries. You want to do better than someone else, but you're not bitter when someone starts playing well. But I think that gives a lot of confidence to the guys here, because they'll go, hey, look, he's a PGA Tour winner, but over the first 4 events of the season, I lost to him by 2 shots here, 1 shot here. I beat him by 1 here, and hey, I could do that too. I have the game, and Tom's proven it. So, but he was the hardest worker in the room, best prepared, hardest worker. Everyone out here wants it. He just out-prepared everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing they say. I always hear about that Ricky Fowler, who was from around this area, they used to say about him as a kid was like every other kid was kind of like managed, but Ricky would be like just dropped off at the course, even as like an 11-year-old. or a
Yep.
12-year-old, and just dropped off and left alone. And it was like his own, and that's what they said. Like he practices more like a 35-year-old or a 30-year-old, he's really like about it, like at a young age. It's kind of what you said, the way you were when you were young, you were, more, I think you got more goofy as you gotten older, but
Absolutely.
you said, but when you were young, you were after it.
Yeah, it's that intrinsic motivation, and it's that internal desire to want to do it,
Right.
not because someone tells you to do it, because you want to do it.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit of the golf news. Before we do that, I'm going to give a few channel updates. So what's going on with Be a Better Golf coming up is we're having a school in San Diego it on Labor Day weekend. So on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th of September, we have a sold out school with Dr. Kwan. So we're going to be Dr. Young-Hoo Kwan, who's like you've seen him on the channel before. He's a golf scientist that is coming out to do a school with some Be Better golfers, and then we're going to be playing Torrey Pines, which should be really exciting. And we'll have lots of content coming out from that, so be sure to be subscribed for that. And then on the Monday of Labor Day, we have a one-day school. I have one spot available for it. It might still be open by the time this gets out, but there's going to be a one-day school, but it's going to be a little unique because we're going to be, I have only just a few golfers coming because we're going to be shooting a kind of a wraparound video about how Dr. Kwan's stuff works and how you can do it at home. So that'll be coming out as well. I'll be doing this podcast thing, and then I have these these top secret golf training aids that I'm coming out with, that I'm kind of working with Dr. Kwan and some other people on, that you'll see all coming up in September. So let's go to the news. All right, so I have the golf news put up here.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I will have part 2 coming out later, but if you want to hear the entire thing now, go over to the Be Better Golf Telegram page. It's an app that I really like because you can share all different kinds of files, including a audio podcast. So if you want to hear the entire over 1 hour discussion, and the next part where we get into mainly the Live Golf Tour, Tim is an insider with information about what's going on with the Live and how it's working with the Asian Tour, and it's really interesting to hear his perspective on it. So go to the Telegram link. If you don't have the app, you just have to install it. It takes a second, and you'll see the podcast there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.